Terence Bud Crawford. Terence Crawford's coming off the biggest win of his legendary career after stopping Earl Spence in the ninth round in their highly anticipated, undisputed match. A lot of talk has been made now after Crawford delivered an absolute ass whooping on Spence of what he will do next. Will we see him go up to 154 pounds to fight none only than Jermell Charlo? Or will we see him rematch Earl Spence at 147 pounds or 154? Showtime recently released an epilogue of the fight. And in the seventh round, after Terence Crawford drops Earl Spence 2 times, we see him run to the neutral corner and go word for word, exchanging probably not too pleasant words with one another with Jermell Charlo. Now, Jermell Charlo and Terence Crawford have had some animosity for one another over these last few years, really since Terence Crawford moved up to 147 pounds and was trying to get that fight with Earl Spence, who's stablemates with Jermell Charlo. Now, Jermell Charlo, throughout these last few years, has discredited Bud's resume, claiming he's fought nobody. He's discredited all of Terence Crawford's accomplishments. Terence Crawford is a 135-pound world champion, the lineal. He moved up to 140 pounds, junior welterweight, went undisputed there, and then moved up to 147 pounds and won a belt off of Jeff Horn, who beat Manny Pacquiao for the WBO belt. But ever since he's entered the 147-pound division, we've heard nothing but sides of the street, Terence Crawford being with longtime promoter Bob Arum of Top Rank. We've seen a lot of things being said about the promotional issues with Charlo and Spence all being on PBC, along with many other fighters in the welterweight division that Bud could never secure a fight with. But now that Bud is no longer with Top Rank, that shouldn't be an issue. But Jermell Charlo is going up to 168 pounds to fight Canelo Alvarez for his undisputed championship. But between those altercations in the seventh round, we saw them go word for word with one another, and for some reason, Showtime muted out what Terence Crawford was saying. And, I'm sure we've all seen the videos between the two talking, and we can kind of make out what Terence Crawford was actually saying. But all that being said, we saw something between James Harden and Jermell Charlo. And James Harden asked Jermell Charlo, is he in your weight class? And, Jermell said, no, he's not in my weight class. I don't know what he's talking about. I'm fighting Canelo next, and yada, yada, yada. All those words, to me, what I took from him was, I want no parts of this man. This dude is no joke. He's beating up my stablemate. From what I heard, I just heard fear come out of Jermell Charlo's mouth, along with delusion. Now, Jermell made a comment regarding Terence Crawford, saying, undisputed, I've already done that. These boys can't mess with me. I'm paraphrasing here. But what he doesn't realize is Terence Crawford went undisputed before him. In fact, Terence Crawford was the first fighter over the last 15 years to go undisputed since Jermaine Taylor and Bernard Hopkins did back in the early 2000s. Now Terence Crawford is a 2-time undisputed world champion in 2 different weight classes. And one reason we really want to see this fight, besides the animosity for one another, is Terence Crawford has the chance, or had the chance, to go undisputed back to back to back in 3 different weight classes, something that no one has ever done. In fact, no one has ever even won undisputed titles in 2 separate weight classes. Clarissa Shields is the only fighter outside of Terence Crawford who's done that. So we have one fighter who is a female. She was the first female fighter to do that, and now Terence Crawford is the first male fighter to do that. Regardless, history was made July 29th as Terence Crawford won his 2nd undisputed title. But now that Jermell Charlo is no longer undisputed at 154 pounds, the WBO belt was stripped from him and now is in the hands of Tim Tszyu, Tim Tszyu has been calling for this fight for the last few years now, and due to Jermell Charlo's inactivity and now him going up to 168 pounds to fight Canelo, they elevated him to the WBO junior middleweight champion of the world. Now, Jermell Charlo, he has the chance to beat Canelo, and if he does, I would imagine he's probably going to stay at 168 pounds, maybe go back down to 160, but if he loses, will he go back down to 154 pounds? And if he does, will he fight Tim Tszyu or Terence Crawford? Now, I don't believe Jermell Charlo at the moment beats either one of those fighters. I think Tim Tszyu is younger, he's more hungry, he's strong, he's more fresher and the more active fighter. Regardless, whichever way the scenario plays out, I don't think it looks good for Jermell Charlo. He's got a tough task in front of him at the end of September as he fights Canelo. Assuming he doesn't beat Canelo, he's got to come back down to either fight Tim Tszyu or Terence Crawford. I don't know. Let me know what you guys think will happen regarding the Jermell Charlo-Canelo fight at the end of September. If he loses, do you guys want to see him fight Terence Crawford next, or would you like to see him fight Tim Tszyu?